Hello, everyone. Let me just invite Melissa into the room because we have a very fun little chat for you all today. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
How
Get my
are you?
dreadlocks today.
No, I love it. You know that my other life is a Rastafarian. Did you know that?
You and I, it's so funny because I'm always like, people are like, you always look different. And I'm like bohemian chic, we would say.
Yeah, do you know what I love I love boho. That's my
That's me too.
sort of jam. Hello to everyone coming in. And
Hi,
boho,
guys.
the anagram is hobo. So that's a fun fact. So you either catch me looking very boho or very hobo. So you just don't know.
I go in between. I can go like super sophisticated and then and then you'll see like my hair and I'm all things like woo. So yeah, you gotta mix it up. You gotta keep people guessing. Hi
Yes.
guys, we are so happy to have you here for today's
Come on
Cosmic Tea.
Come on in. Come on into the room. Come
We're
join
loving
us.
it.
Join us, please. We're going to have a great chat today. Thank you all so much for being here. There's loads of people in here already. Crazy. Where are you all from? Share us with where you're from. It's so lovely to have you all here. Today, we're going to talk about...
Oh, I love today's topic.
Drum roll, please.
I know. I'm going to try to do... We should start getting things. This topic is so good. Okay. I'm going to let you present.
No, expectations. So the title for this chat today, this Cosmic Tea, welcome back. This is episode 14, which is really wild. And today we're going to be talking about expectations, how they are fucking up your life, because they are, and how you can change them. So this is one of the most asked about topics that we get. And so every week, Melissa and I sort of join forces. We meet on a Monday, or let's be honest, we're texting all weekend long. And so, what do we want to go after? What do we want to talk about? And this was just an overwhelming response because all of you, and hello, if I can't get to all of you, hello, want to know how to change where you currently are or why you've been experiencing the things that you have. So that's really a two-part question. And it's one that we get a ton. I mean, Melissa, we were talking about this. This is one of the biggest things that you guys, myself and yourself included, get asked.
So here's the thing, each week, we've had a lot, but this week in particular, and I've shared this before, one of my dear friends, Christine Hassler, definitely check her out. She had a book called Expectation Hangover. And one of the things that I see so often that I've done myself is one of the worst things is when you don't even realize that you had expectations until you're disappointed. And then you go back and you go, oh, wow, I really did have expectations. I had expectations about what that event was going to be like, that holiday. I put expectations on my partner. I had expectations on myself. I had expectations for my business, for this evening, for my body, and we get really let down. And so what we really wanted to do is share about how to release expectations, how to actually catch it before you're in the space of disappointment or frustration. And let's be honest here, it is not fun when you're upset with somebody else and then you realize, oh, I had all these expectations of you. And it's like, how could they even meet them when you didn't even know that you had them of that person, which happens so often in relationships as well. So we want to help you truly to identify, and then also like what to do about it. What to do when you're just like, yeah, I'm really freaking frustrated. This didn't happen. It didn't go the way that I wanted. I've been working my ass off to get to this place. And what do I do now?
Absolutely, because it's one thing to understand that you don't like what keeps showing up in your life. And by the way, that's the number one telltale sign to know what your expectation has been, is what keeps showing up. And sometimes you have expectations of things and the shows up. And we're going to talk about how that happens, because if you're practicing law of attraction and you're really, you're doing all the things, you're meditating, you're juicing the kale, you're whatever, right? So
Juicing the kale.
I don't know. Can we just somebody trademark that, juicing the kale? I'm gonna go juice the kale. But you know what I'm saying? You're doing all the woo-woo shit that I love, and we do. Because it happens to me, it happens to you, it happens to all of us. So the thing is that your expectation of something, if you're not fully lined up with it emotionally, or if there is a variance between what you believe, and listen closely to this part, what you believe you deserve, that's the kicker, and what you tell yourself that you're expecting. And there can be a really big delta there that has to be reconciled, because you can look in the mirror and say all the affirmations every single day that you want of life is great, I'm happy, and you can juice the kale, you can juice all the kale in the world, let me tell you. But if you are not emotionally doing the legwork to line up with that, it's sort of all for naught. And even if it gets you sort of in the same realm as what you want or your expectation, you're not going to emotionally feel the full-bodied aroma of what you actually want occurring to you. Melissa, what do you have to say about that?
I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to tell you a lot of things. Okay, so first and foremost, if you've been following me, if you've heard me on Cosmic Tea, I am a ginormous fan of scripting. What do I mean by scripting? Taking a pen to paper, I say there's power in your pen. You get to create, but we don't create. And this is life starts happening to you instead of for you when you are not intentional in what your desire is and you're not getting really, really clear. And I advise my clients and every woman in my community, I'm going to tell each and every one of you, really be intentional in what it is that you want to experience and what it is that you want to create. Everything. I mean, from going to the dentist to coming to Cosmic Tea to a big event that you have, to family visiting, to other things. I cannot say say this enough, that when you actually script out one, you get really, really clear, and you can ask yourself and write this down as a journal prompt. What are my expectations? What is my expected outcome? What is my desired outcome for X, Y, and Z? What's my desired outcome for this date? What's my desired outcome for this weekend? What do I want my experience with my children to be? Really, really getting clear and really scripting is one of the most powerful and profound exercises. It does not mean that you have to write out in detail. I woke up and took 3 steps, and then I went and had a sip of water, and then I felt really good. It can just be, today was an amazing day. This went better than expected. We had a great conversation. Write it out, see it happening. And in that process, you'll get very clear on what your expectations are. And if you do have them, you get the universe working with you, right? Cosmic Tea. These are simple principles about bringing in really, really law of attraction, cosmic influences, the universe, God, source, nature, mother nature, what all your belief systems, let's bring them all in. I have them all, and allow them to align with your heart's desire. So with all of that, you have to get clear. And if you're not clear and you're not intentional, then 90% of the time we're let down and we don't get the things that we want.
Absolutely. And then you're just sitting there and shit just starts showing up and happening in your life, and you will call it fate, or you'll think that you're unlucky, or you'll think that you are not deserving. But in reality, you're just not getting organized with your thoughts and organized, as Melissa said, with your belief systems. So a famous football player, Tom Brady.
Wait,
you may have heard of him.
Famous football player. I thought you said something else. I was also literally drinking a gallon of water. Okay.
So you may have heard of Tom Brady. I'm not sure. He's really not a big deal at all. He talks about really scripting through and walking through each game. And this is nothing new for athletes either. A lot of the athletes that I've worked with this is what we do. We sit down and we script through, okay, like maybe you don't know every pass, maybe you don't know, but you put yourself in a fluid mind state where you can walk yourself through it, and then you can see, okay, if this gets intercepted over here, or this, like you can sort of put yourself in each situation and circumstance. And so when that occurs, it's just like stepping into it, stepping into it, stepping into it. So you can outline it. It's very much like writing a book where, sure, you can just sit down and start writing things. And I've certainly done that. I wouldn't recommend it, because then you have your editor who comes to you and is like, Olivia, this is just unorganized thoughts. They're great, but there's no structure to it. So outline your day, right? So identify, what are the 3 mass emotions that you want to feel for your day? Do you want to feel lucky today? Do you want to feel love today? Do you want to feel energized? Do you want to feel identify what are the 3 base emotions that you want to carry about your day? And then, identify other things. What are the things that you want to get accomplished in your day? So I'll write a list the night before. This is what I need to get accomplished. And sometimes some of that gets accomplished, most of it. Sometimes it doesn't, but then I just have a running list. So yep. I think being intentional and being really, just organized about your thoughts. Otherwise, yeah, as you said, stuff will just start showing up, and then you're just going to think that things don't work out for you, or that you're unlucky, and that's just not true.
Well, I love that you paired, guys, and you're going to hear us say this because we love to share simple practices that work, that you can do anywhere at any time. And visioning is an integral piece to the scripting process, because, and you started off with Tom Brady, which, by the way, his book is really, really good too.
He's amazing and very, very deep.
He really is. You'll see another great book, by the way, is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. I found him to be a fascinating man. And I love everything that he does. And I bring him up too, because you see that a lot of what he did with his success was really getting grounded in what he wanted, intentional. There was no equivocation. And then it was also the visioning, right? So really bringing that vision in and getting clear. And it doesn't mean that you need to be some sort of, I have people say to me all the time, like, but I don't really see things. I'm just like, I don't really blah, blah, blah. First off, as children, we have an amazing imagination. All of us had an imagination. So you can see and experience things. The more you can allow yourself to dip into that and get out of the adulting that happens as we get older, all the responsibilities, and go into that space of what do I want? Now, I know you might be going like, hey guys, we're just talking about expectations, but really think about how often, this is so empowering, because really think about how often you felt disempowered or been in fear of getting going to a doctor's appointment and being afraid of getting like results, a test result, like anything of that nature, or having a conversation with a loved one that you're nervous to have, or with a boss. When you actually know that you can co-create that experience and make it work in your favor. So this is really, really powerful. And this is one of the number one ways that you can really get your expectations met and get clear on what they are, so you're not disappointed. Now, Liv, I want to throw it back to you, and I want to ask you, what do you do when shit hits the fan and you're like, okay, my expectations weren't met. I didn't even realize that I had them, and I'm super disappointed. How do you let go and turn that around?
I think this actually has happened to me somewhat recently. I think the most important thing is to just recognize that, okay, yeah, I did have expectations, and why? First of all, why? Because that's really important. Why did I have expectations, and what did I need to feel or be met or feel satiated with this expectation? What was that giving to me, and why did I identify that that was something that I needed to feel, and also something that I needed external validation on that I wasn't able to give to myself? So that's one. For me personally, that's a really important part of the process. But I think, also just identifying.
Can you elaborate on the external validation?
Yeah. So for example, celebrating a holiday, right? We'll just use this example. And Don't we love celebrating holidays with our family? And it's a really great, joyous experience, right? But it's also like a breeding ground for expectations, disappointment, right? So, even something as small as I had in my mind that a certain event or holiday or whatever was going to go a certain way, that's really contingent on other people. And so if my expectation is going to be a great holiday and joyous and all of these things, why am I relying on other people to validate or invalidate that for me? Because I can create my own experience and I can sort of like envelop that within myself. So it's not about anyone else, actually, right? So that's the first thing that I tend to ask myself is like, what was it in that I felt that I couldn't give myself, that I felt that I needed someone else to provide for me in any way, shape, or form? And so, you know, that's that kind of like third party validation is always a slippery slope, and it's not real. It's a recipe for disaster. So don't make it about the third party validation. If you want to feel a certain way about someone, if this is someone that you're dating, if this is someone that you are friends with, decide to feel that certain way until that person shows you otherwise, and then choose accordingly. But don't make it contingent. Take that other person out of the equation. I know that sounds crazy. And I love that a lot of the stuff that we are telling you sounds crazy. We're a little bit crazy, but you know what? We're also two of the happiest people that I know, two of the happiest, most successful people. This is why we do it. So if it sounds a little bit crazy, good. The crazier that this shit sounds to you, the more that it's going to reinvent your life and transform you. I can promise you that. Because if you're here, what you've been doing hasn't been working. So we're going to show you a different paradigm, okay? And we'll be gentle. We'll be gentle. So take the other person out of the equation. This is phenomenal. We talk about this all the time in dating relationships. You want to feel a certain way about somebody? Feel that way. And unless they are a jerk and punch you in the face, I mean, I'm just like, abuse is never okay, but I'm just saying, like, unless they like throw food at you or whatever, like do something that you're like, this is not an okay thing for me, then don't let any little nuance with them having a bad day, them having their own life, that like, don't let that affect what you have already sort of resolved yourself to be your experience. Because when you do that, you're allowing external forces, circumstances to be the barometer of how you want to feel about your day and how you want to feel about the experience. And when you do that, again, we've talked about this until we're blue in the face, that experience will be provided for you. You will not like it. You have to decide to cultivate and create how you want to feel. You have to like force positive thoughts in the place where there are negative ones. You have to, you know, disconnect from that like monkey brain that wants to be like, what about this? What about that? What about this? Because that will dampen your expectations as well. That will certainly steer you in a direction of fear and in all of those things. And so it's really just this idea that it begins and it ends with you, these expectations. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's why I had to expand upon it, because I so many don't realize, and you know, obviously I've had this happen with me so much, but it's really understanding that, guys, your opinion of you is the most important and the only opinion that matters. In addition to that, it's so important to recognize where we're looking for other people to give us what we need. And all of that, you will always somehow be disappointed. In some way you will be let down, because if your happiness is contingent on others, then that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And so for everything that you do in life, it has to be what you want to do. You know, it has to be like, even if it's not what you want to do, but it has to be in going, okay, even if this isn't what I want to do, I'm going to make the best of it. But it's based on me. Everything is interpreted through your own lens, and everything that happens to you, the way that it impacts you, your experience of it, is the way that you choose to experience it and the meaning that you give to it. So that's just why some people can have, you can take two people that have had the exact same trauma, and
Yeah.
one person can easily transcend the trauma and make it work for them, and another person, it will be the demise of their existence. Why does that happen? Because of the meaning that they gave to it. and how much they allowed that meeting to impact them. So I know it's like, again, with expectations, I really want to just, and we really want to just empower you to know that the ball is in your court. You have the wand. You get to create for you or against you. You get to get clear. But the number one ways to really get out of having what, you know, would be deemed that expectation hangover is having the clarity, taking time to really be intentional in what you want, seeing it, and then acting in accordance with it. And then what if it doesn't transpire the way that you've wanted it, let it go.
And
it doesn't need to mean anything about you.
It's so true. And you'll be okay. So that's the thing, is that's the really magical part about, as Melissa said, putting the ball in your court, is then when you release the need for something to be or look or behave a certain way, then it's ultimate freedom. Because then whatever shows up, you know, and there's a quote that I really love, that if it's good, it's great. If it's bad, it's experience. And if you can put yourself in that sort of like space of, even if the worst should happen, it's just going to be character building. It's just going to be enriching. And then if it's good, it's icing. Because once you develop and cultivate that relationship with yourself where you are pretty much free of expectations, you can have standards. That's not the same thing. You can have boundaries of how you want people to treat you and behave. That's different than expectations. Expectations is saying, I'm putting all of the power in how I want to feel and what essentially the direction of my life and how my day will be determined in the hands of someone or something else. And that's never a good idea, because it's always in your hands, always. So when you detach from that, you become really limitless in the sense that you just are able to then choose. Okay, well, I'm seeing this thing happening over here, and how do I want to relate to it? As Melissa said, how do I want to feel about this thing that is happening? Do I want to feel good about it, or do I want to feel challenged by it? But understanding in that if you're already whole and you're looking at this thing happening over here, it's a much different emotional, visceral reaction and response than just being like, I need this to fill a void and it's not. Fuck, what am I going to do? That's, you know, it's a completely different wavelength than being whole and being like, this is great over here. And if it's not great, that's okay, because I'm still whole, and I'm still, you know, sort of encapsulated in my own inner strength.
Well, I love so much, guys. Again, I love you so much. So the other thing here is, we're all energy. It is really amazing when you liberate others of your expectations and allow them, they don't even know, and you don't even know, but they don't feel, there's nothing you got. Okay, so energy vampires are just people that when they want something from you, or they're looking for you to compliment them or give validation or this or that, or they need something from you, you can feel it. And if you're exhausted, or if you've had a lot going on, it's like, wow, it's kind of draining. Whereas when you get with other people that don't need anything from you, they fill you up. Yeah. Right? It's nice to be with them, and they add to you, they enhance, they're not taking anything. It is so liberating for your children, for your partner, for your colleagues, for friends, for random strangers to actually have an experience where there is a clean energy and there is nothing that is wanted from them. So when you start really going, I'm in charge of my experience, I get to own what I want. I like it is everything is the meaning that I give to it. Everything in my life is a mirror. What's going on with me? Then you really, it's freeing. It's so liberating. And then the coolest thing that happens is other people start showing up for you and stepping up, because you're giving them the space, and you're just going like, I'm just here and I'm like so good. I have no expectations of you or anything else. It doesn't mean not to have goals. It doesn't mean not to have a desire or a vision for something. It simply means that you get to choose your experience and know that, and be empowered with creating it.
Absolutely. And, you know, it is that difference between lack and this is basic law of attraction, but it's the difference between
Yeah.
lack and fulfillment. So I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and essentially they were asking me, do you need X, whatever it was? Like, I think it was like, you know, do you need this thing? And my response was, well, I've learned a long time ago that need comes from a place of lack. I choose, I prefer. So even infusing that verbiage into your vocabulary can be really transformative. Instead of like, I need this to happen, I choose, I would prefer that to happen, but I'm actually okay with if it doesn't, because you'll be okay. And
Yeah.
here's a statistic for you to take with you. You have survived 100% of your worst days so far. So your track record is 100%. So when I say that you'll be okay, I'm speaking from your experience. You will be okay, right? So try that next time you set an expectation. Set it from your preference, set it from, and it's much more high vibrational when you're like, I prefer this, I choose this, as opposed to like, I need this, and if you don't give it to me, because guess what people are going to do? They're going to be like, oh, gross, because nobody wants to feel like they're the reservoir for energy for other people, and they shouldn't. That's no one else's responsibility, by the way. So yeah, you know, I just think that it's such an elevated space to come from when you prefer, when you choose, when you know, all of that, instead of like, I need something.
And guys, you can preface, just say this or something better. This or something better. Allow for the universe to take hold. It's not like I'm a controller and it's this or nothing else. It's this or something better. This or something better, whatever you have for me. And always know that if you don't get the thing you asked for, then trust that something better is on its way to you. But we have to be in that space versus, oh my God, I effed up. I should have done this. I could have done that. I regret this. The only control you have is in this present moment. It is never trying to course correct the past, and everything you're craving right now, right here, is what impacts your future. So that's the only control that you have. So let's let go of all the shoulds, regrets, could have, what if I did. It doesn't matter. What you did is you're here now. What do you want now? Right? Oh my God, such a good cosmic tea.
I love it. We're spilling the tea everywhere. We're spilling it all over.
Everywhere. Oh my gosh. And guys, you need to let us know, what do you want support with? What do you want us to help you with?
We've just had like the most amazing response, and even like people are still coming into the room, which is amazing. Come on in. So Cosmic Tea every Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on IG Live. We have loads more tips for you guys about manifestation, about diet, about detox, whatever you want to talk about. Follow Melissa, follow myself, check out our websites. Loads of stuff listed there.
And you had, okay, wait, by the way, Liv has a book coming out, which we are going to do an interview on here, because we've got to get, it's so good. And
I'll give you an exclusive.
To share. Yes.
I'll give you an exclusive interview.
That's all. See, I know earlier Liv said, you know, you can't look for somebody else to complete you, but she does complete me.
You complete me.
I mean, it's like,
really though, like you're I feel like you would be jelly and I would be peanut butter.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I would be almond butter, actually. Forget I said that.
I will take it, and I'll be strawberry. Yeah.
You're very sweet, and I'm nutty.
You no, very sweet. We're a good mix. That's why you put us together. All right, guys. So follow us each week for Cosmic Tea. Please share this with anybody that you know it can support. That's why we do this. And you know, we really just are here in full love and support. We do have awesome gifts on both of our website. You could go to mine, melissacatherine.com, KATHRYN, to download my Miracle Mindset Hypnosis, completely free. People love it. On Liv's page, you have, guys,
I have meditations, I have recipes, I have
so much
to be fit. Like, yeah, we're just going to keep getting better. We're just going to keep
It just
evolving.
keeps getting better, like you do. So we're going to keep pouring into you and keep coming back each week. Let us know anything that you need. We are here. We love you. We are so grateful for you. We love having this many people from all over the world. It's like incredible. The audience just keeps like tripling each week, which is so awesome. And we love you to pieces. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next week for Cosmic Tea. And if you want all the episodes, there's 14 of them now. So you can just go and watch.
I love you, Melissa Catherine. I'll
I
talk
love
to you
you
soon.
too.
And I love all of you watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.